ओमज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोर्श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 5th chapter, verse number 26. Maitreya, in response to the questions of Vidura, is speaking about the creation. And he said that in the beginning there was only the Lord, which means the material creation was unmanifest, and Lord with his spiritual creation was existing in spiritual world. And at that time he desired to create, so he glanced at the sleeping potency of unmanifest energy, and then Maya became active. So in this particular verse he speaks about Maya becoming energized by the potency of time. कालवृत्त्या तु मायायां गुणमय्याम धोक्षजः पुरुषेण आत्मभूतेन वीर्यं माधत्ते वीर्यवान्. Says that at that time Lord, he put his energy through the power or form of Purusha. Lord, who is Adhokshaja, means he is beyond the gunas, he is transcendental. So two words are used here, one is Adhokshaja, which means transcendental, and then Purusha. Krishna does not come in contact with the material nature directly. He expands himself, and that expansion is called Purusha. So through Purusha he controls the material energy, and it is through Purusha that creation is done. So Vallabhacharya, as I was reading, he has given a nice allegory to make this understand. It says when Lord was thinking to create, then Kala came, because it says Kala Vrittya. So Vritti means action, existence, but he says that Kala Tatra Samagatya Parivritta. Parivritta means to go around. So he is taking the meaning of vritta as parivritta, which means to circumambulate. Like In India we do parikrama of holy places, holy persons, temples. We go around. This is considered as a spiritual activity. So he came and he circumambulated the Lord, and then he was standing there with folding hands. Kal paravritya kritva mayam gunakshobha jata. And when he did the parikrama, just by doing that, Maya became agitated. There was disturbance in the gunas of Maya. Kalene vyaprita shubda guna jata tadasa, and then she became bewildered. Maya. He is talking about the bewildering of the jivas, but Maya became bewildered herself. Because when people want to bewilder somebody, they also have to be bewildered themselves. When you want to attract somebody, then first you have to become attracted. So she became bewildered by the action of time, and then she became kamanda. She became very agitated by the lust. Tada Bhagavan indriyatita eva tasya adrishya eva bhutva tasya bhartriyogam atmana sakashad ekam purusham nirmam. Then what Lord did, because she became agitated, so Lord, he created one person who was qualified to be husband of Maya. He himself remained invisible, but he created Purusha, because the verse says Purushena Atma Rupena, that in the form of Purusha, Atma Bhutena. So he is giving meaning according to the words that he created. Sahi Bhartri Yogyo Bhagavadansa Purushottama, and he became the husband of Maya. Because Purusha is also called, like in the material world also, Purusha or person is the husband and the wife is Prakriti. Tasya swatah pravritya abhavat tam nimittykritya bhagavan swayame tadantriyam bhutya tasyam viryamadhate. And then it says that Lord impregnated her. So he is saying that Purusha by himself was not powerful enough. So Lord entered into him as Paramatma, super soul, and then impregnated the material nature. Because he is Viryavan, he is powerful, he has the potency. So the idea here is that there is only one supreme controller. Because in every philosophy or religion there is ultimately one reality. Who is the supreme and who is the controller? So that reality for us is Krishna. But it does not mean that he is doing everything personally. So he expands and he creates, he has various energies, and these energies are functioning in different ways. But everything is under his control. And even control is not that he is directly controlling everything. Some things he controls personally and some through his expansions. So this is one concept which is very peculiar to Vedic culture, that God is not just one himself, but he expands himself in many forms. And these expansions, they are of various degrees. Every form is not same. It's not that all forms of God have same power, although he is one, but he manifests the power in different levels. So when it comes to dealing with the material nature, then it is the Purusha form which deals with it. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he comments, Maya Bhartur Adi Purushasya Api Anshi Maha Vaikuntha Nato Bhagavane. So he says that the Lord of the spiritual world, which is called Mahavaikuntha. He is the Ansi of the whole, even of Purusha, who is the husband of Maya. So Ansi means that he is the source, and Purusha, who acts as the husband or controller or maintainer, is an expansion of him. Sarva Karana Karanam Ashritatvam. And that Supreme Person, who is the Lord of Mahavaikuntha, Krishna, he is the cause of all causes, he is the ultimate cause, and he is the shelter of everything. So he is the supreme shelter, he is the Ashray Tattva. And as we read in the second canto, that Bhagavatam basically describes this Ashray Tattva, and what is the ultimate shelter of everything. So, Dasmasya Visuddhyartham Navanami Lakshanam. To make us understand the 10th subject matter of Bhagavatam, which is Ashraya. Other 9 are described, and first one of them is creation. So creation, which is being described here, is also to make us understand the characteristic of the Supreme Lord. That is the idea behind it. Because when we describe somebody, there are 2 ways of describing. One is the internal characteristic of that object, how the object appears, how it looks, what it constitutes, and so on. The other is how it manifests its energies outside. So material world is also energy of God, but it is outside His Swarupa, His nature. So first we study this, and with this we understand the Lord, that it is also one of His features or energies. So for that reason, the creation is being described. It says, Darshan Sarga Arambham Aha. Kalasya Vritya Prathamikya Mahapurusha Niswasa Rechana Prathama Kshanena Ityartha. So he says that this action of Kala, this is the first moment of Mahapurusha, Niswasa Recha, when he is breathing out. So it is described here that when Mahavishnu, or the first Purusha, when he breathes out, then there is creation. And when he breathes in, then there is destruction. So creation begins at the first moment when his breath is about to come out. That is the point when Big Bang occurs. This is what scientists are trying to study now in Switzerland. They made this, I think, 36-kilometer long tunnel to study or create a situation which will resemble the situation at 0 time of creation. So they were not successful. But he says that this is the 0 time. He specifically says Mahapurush Niswasa Rechan, the first moment when it comes out. So it's not that the universe, the whole thing just comes out. As he starts breathing out, and because his breath is very long, it exists for 311 trillion years. That is his one breath. So the first moment is just when the time becomes active, and then creation starts. Adhokshajo Mahavaikunthanatho Bhagwan Atma Bhutena Swansharupena Maya Adhisthatra Adipurusena Dwara Mayayam Durad Ikshnaneva Sambhuktayam Viryam Chidabhasabhyam Jeev Shakti Madhate. So the Supreme Lord, who is Adhokshaja, who is beyond sense perception, who is the master of the highest spiritual planet, who is called Bhagavan. from his own Ansha, he created the Adi Purusha, the first person, who is the presiding deity of material nature and therefore also called as Bharta or husband. So he looked at Maya from far away. So therefore in the Upanishads it is said Sayaksha, that he glanced. So this is the glance, and by his glance, which is like his potency, he planted the Chidabhas or the Jivas, the conscious living beings, into Maya. Mamayonir Mahad Brahma Tasmin Garbham Dadhamyam, as Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, that this material nature is my great womb and I put the seed into it. So the seed here is called Chidabhas. This is another name for the soul or living entity. Because Chit means conscious and Abhas means glow. So it's a small particle. Or Abhas means a semblance. Because Lord is real Chit. He is like a big fire. And the living entities are like sparks. So spark has just like very little minute light in it, very little heat. So therefore it is called Chidabhas. So he put the jivas into material energy. Pralaye leenam santam avidya kam karma anushayavantam kshetragyam srishti samaye bhogyena kshetrena sanyojayan. So at the time of dissolution, all the jivas, they were sleeping along with their ignorance, their desires and their past karma. So living entity, when it sleeps, when at night we sleep along with our karma and we sleep with our ignorance and also our desires sleep. When we wake up, then our karma becomes activated. So then you start feeling happy and distress. So the same thing also happens before the creation. When the living beings are in the state of dissolution, they are merged into Prakriti and they are unmanifest. And there are no desires. But it does not mean that soul has become desireless. The desires are also inactive. And the karma is inactive. And the ignorance, there is an adi avidya. The soul is always in a state of ignorance. So now he is waking up with these three properties. These are the three credit cards he has. And with these credit cards, then he buys things here in the material world and he functions. And then he creates more credits. So there is avidya. Avidya here refers to ignorance about our nature. We are not aware of our true nature, who are we. Even when we go in deep sleep and we are free from subtle and gross body and we are supposed to be just by ourselves, still we don't know who are we. So that is because of avidya. Ajnanena avritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantam. So our nature is covered by this ignorance, our knowledge. Knowledge means this awareness about ourselves. And covered means that we are identifying with something else, what we are not. We have our true I consciousness, but instead of being aware of it, we are being aware of something which is not our nature or swarup or our internal constitution. That is the basic ignorance. And then this ignorance manifests in specific ways. Then I identify with a particular body and I think I am man or woman or young or old. So this is the outcome of that ignorance. And then I perform karma. I have desires according to a particular body, then I have my desires. If I am a human being, then I have a particular type of food which I like. If I am some other animal like cow, then I like grass. So these different desires. And of course here we are specifically talking about human life, because in other lives their desires are just linked with the food and protection. They just follow the instinct. And then past karma manifests to give us a particular situation in this world. We meet different type of people, we go to different places, we meet different situations, how other people deal with us. So this all is outcome of the past karma. So these three things, avidya, kam and karma, they are always with the jiva. Anushavantam kshetragyam, and the jiva is called kshetragya because he is the knower of these things. Srishti samaye bhogyena kshetrena sanyojayami. So he says that jiva wants to enjoy and he cannot enjoy unless he has field of enjoyment. So during dissolution he is disassociated from the field of enjoyment. It's like when we are in deep sleep, we lose contact with the physical body and we cannot enjoy without physical body. The enjoyment comes through physical body. That's why there are spirits or ghosts, they want to occupy somebody. They don't have a gross body, and without gross body they cannot drink or eat or dance or get their favorite ice cream. So then they occupy somebody else's, they sit on that and then say, I want ice cream, and they start eating ice cream. And they satisfy. Because it is not the tongue which is eating, it is something behind which gets the satisfaction of eating that. So they also hook up with somebody's instruments. So like these days they do kidney transplant. Somebody's kidney is not functioning and somebody else donates a kidney to this person. So he's using another's instrument. Or heart transplant, or these days you can also fit the eye. So the ghosts, they occupy the whole instrument, complete. Because without kshetra, without the field, you cannot play. You need a field to play. If there is no field, where will you play? So this playground is the body. So what Krishna does is that all these souls in dissolution, they are not having any field of play. And then he says, okay, bacha log, come and you can play now. So he gives them the bodies and then they're enamored, then they start doing so many things in this world. So they're playing. Lord is also playing and we are playing, but our play is called karma because with our play we become bound because we actually want the fruit of the action. Lord does not want the fruit of action. For him the action itself is pleasure. And in the material world we don't take pleasure in the action, we take pleasure in the fruit. So then we become bound. Iti Sri Swami Charana Madhusudan Saraswati Padasya Maya Shakti, Jeev Shakti or Melne Naive Jagat Utpatti Sambhava. So the creation happens only when Maya Shakti and Jeeva Shakti, they are combined together. So in the same way as man and woman they unite, then only there is creation. Or when you are covered by Maya, you are in ignorance, then you do so many things. Otherwise you want to renounce. यया क्षेत्रज्ञ शक्ति सा तारतम्येन वर्तते iti. So this kshetragya shakti, now the jiva is uniform in all, the soul has similar powers, but this power becomes manifest according to the body. Like if you have a bicycle, or you have a motorcycle, scooter, then small car, medium sized car, big car, sports car, helicopter, aeroplane, rocket. So you are the same person, but depending on which type of vehicle you have, then you can go at different speeds. So then there are different levels of vehicles. So in the same way, there are various levels of living beings. So it's Kshetragya Shakti Tartamya with different gradations. Although the soul is same, whether it is an ant's body or an elephant's body, the soul makes no difference. But because of the body, then power manifests. So somebody who is very tall, somebody who is very small, very strong or weak, the soul is same. वैष्णवोक्तेर माया शक्तौ जीव शक्ति प्रवेशनात् माया शक्ति अधीनम जीव शक्तिम चकार इति वाक्यात्. So this jiva shakti, the living being's power, enters into maya shakti. Like you sit in a car, so car has its power and you have your power. So when you enter into the car, then you use the car's power. Then you can go at 100 kilometers per hour. So similarly the jiva is riding. Therefore Krishna says, Yantra Rudhani Mayaya Ramayan Sarvabhutani. That I am rotating everybody by making them sit on this machine made of Maya, called body. This is what is going on. So now you understand the play of this philosophy of this movie called Matrix. Everybody is just riding this machine and not knowing. किंच विष्णु शक्तेर अनंत्यात् मायायाम अप्रविष्टापि अनंत एव तस्य जीवा विश्वक्षेनादि नामानो व्यक्ता व्यक्ता नित्य सिद्धा संति इत्याह वीर्यवान. So it says, because the power of Lord Vishnu is unlimited, therefore there are unlimited jivas. And various types of jivas. There are some which are manifest, there are some which are not manifest. So many times people ask this question, that if we are taking another birth, then why the world population is increasing? Because it should stay constant. So it is not like that. First of all, this question is made with the idea that every human being dies and becomes only human being. Now you can also go from one species to another species, and then there are jivas which may not have bodies at present, and then they can have bodies after some time. So they are still lying in the body of Mahavishnu, they can come out from there. As he is glancing now, and he is putting some jivas into this material nature, he can also put more later on, because he is Viryavan. So Virya is the potency of the living beings, or in the allegoric form it is the semen. So it's not that he injected once and then he has lost all his semen, he has no more power. So Jakta and Avyakta. And then there are Nitya Siddha devotees also existing with the Lord. So therefore he says Viryavan striyam ahitad viryad adhik pramanam eva virya pumsi tishtati iti lokesot prasiddhi. He gives a material example that even if a man unites with a woman and he loses his semen, that does not mean that he has lost everything. Still he has more in his body. So that's why Lord is called Viryavan, that he is potent. And thus there is no end of the living beings. No matter how many living beings die or even become liberated, still they will remain unlimited in this world. This will never come to an end. Because this question is also asked, if people start becoming liberated, and once you become liberated, then you don't take birth again. So that means that many souls have become less in the universe. So after some time the universe will be soulless, because all the soul will become liberated. But that is not true, because it is unlimited. And this is very difficult to understand what this unlimited means. We hear the word, but actually if you try to imagine it, what it means actually. And you say that material energy is unlimited. All the souls are unlimited. So it will never come to an end, because they are infinite. Then what is the next thing which happens is that Mahat Tattva is born. There is a Tattva, these are called elements. These are the Eastern elements, these are not the modern elements of chemistry. So in philosophy these are also called Tattvas. And you can translate them element, but don't misunderstand this translation. So Prakriti is the source, it's like the seed, and now it is sprouting. So the first element which comes out is called Mahat, or the great, and that is described in the verse number 27. Tato bhavan mahat tattvam avyaktat kala choditat Vijnanatma Atmadehastham Viswam Vyanjanstamonudah. Then occurred, the first thing was Mahatattva, being impelled by time. And Mahatattva came from the Prakriti, which is Avyakta or unmanifest. So Prakriti gives birth to Mahatattva. And this Mahatattva is Vijnanatma. It has knowledge in it. It is more like in the Sattva Guna. So there is knowledge, and it has got the universe in itself. Means all the ingredients which are necessary for the manifestation of the universe, they are in Mahatattva. So this is what was there before, and it dispels the darkness, tamonuda. So science agrees that there is dark matter in this universe. 98.5% of the universe is filled with dark matter. And then Mahatattva comes like a light. So it says tamonuda means dispelling the darkness. Then the light. So when Mahatattva was not there, then everything was dark. There was only dark matter. But when Prakriti transforms, it does not transform everything. It also remains. So dark matter is still there, but there is also the manifestation. So this is the first thing which appears. And it is Vijnan, means it has knowledge, consciousness. So in that sense, everything has got some intelligence in it. The plants have intelligence, because Mahatattva is there in them also. They know what is necessary for to grow. And if you try to put an obstacle to the plant, then it also knows how to go to the side. Now, how does it know? It is not a human being, it's not thinking like us. But it goes, and if it has to get light from one particular direction, then it starts growing to that side. We have our garden backside, and all the plants there is going up and up because they don't get light here. So they came out from the net. So from where this intelligence has come? This is there within them. That is Mahatattva. This is the cosmic intelligence.
It's not the same as Paramatma. It's not the same as Paramatma.
No, this is not the same as Paramatma. So, in the same way, the universe and the planets, water, air, fire, the Mahatattva element is there in them also because they have come from them. So they also have some sense. And although they look unconscious, or even stones, or mountains, rivers, oceans, they are also having some intelligence because they are also functioning. And nobody is all the time telling them to do it this way or that way. They are also following certain laws, and law signifies intelligence. There is a law, even if it is a law of gravity, and the water is always flowing down because of the gravity, or it freezes when the temperature is down. So some law is there, so that means there is some intelligence behind it. It's not that everything happens haphazardly. Because first of all, how the law has come into existence. Science is only discovering the laws, but who made the law? Who made the principle? Principles of motion, principles of heat, how the electricity functions. Why is it that negative charge is attracted to the positive charge? They only figured it out, but why there is an attraction? Why that North Pole repels North Pole and attracts South Pole? What is the reason for this? So, who made it? And these things are there, and because of these laws, the things are functioning as they are functioning. And if gravitation is whatever is the, I don't remember now, what is the power of gravitation? Anybody remembers? I also don't remember. You know, the force of gravitation. So it has
that
G.
980
9
980 and this
तुक्का मत मारो
नहीं तुक्का नहीं सच
980 थोड़ी है
हाँ
No. So why the gravitational force is only this much and not more or less? So this has a purpose, because if it was more or it was less, then probably Earth's orbit will change. So every planet has their own gravitational force, their orbits. पढ़ा है स्कूल में? नहीं?
गुरुत्वाकर्षण शक्ति 980
के चुम्बकले तान्ने पढायो गरे कि
नहीं,
कतिमा तान्छ
गुरुत्वाकर्षण शक्ति कितनी होती है 980
नहीं पढ़ा? कितना है? ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स कितना होता?
कोई चीज ऊपर फेंके तो नीचे आती है ना, कितनी फोर्स से आती है?
9.814 कितना है?
980
नहीं याद? साइंस में नहीं पढ़ा? क्या पढ़ा? बलून? नहीं, तूने पढ़ा?
पढाए के भनेर भन्नु के भने
भन्ने भाई नहीं भन्ने नहीं।
मंदिर
पाई जानता है पाई? नहीं पाई एल
22/7 जानते हो? 22/7
22/7 पाई नहीं पड़ा? सर्कल का एरिया निकालना हो, रेडियस मालूम हो तो कैसे निकालेंगे? पाई आर स्क्वायर नहीं पड़ा? नहीं फिर क्या? So why pi is 22/7? So this is there because of Mahatattva. This is what Mahatattva means. If we understand Mahatattva, then you will know all this science. If somebody will worship Mahatattva and will become realized in Mahatattva, he will know all the scientific laws. He can actually give the unified field theory for which scientists are working now more than 100 years and they are not successful yet. So it is only through Mahatattva one can get, because this is the unified field. We talked about Kshetra, right? Kshetra means field. And it is the beginning. There is only Prakriti and Prakriti makes the Kshetra, but because Prakriti is Avyakta, next is Mahatattva. So if there are yogis in the past, if you read Yoga Sutra, there are types of yogis who will merge into Prakriti, merge into Mahatattva. So they will meditate on this, they will realize it. So they will know everything. And they can manipulate. Because once they can manipulate Mahatattva, they can make anything from anything.
they can go through a wall.
Yeah. They can turn the brick into gold or water into milk. It's possible for me.
There are examples of people who can walk through the wall.
You can turn milk into cheese.
That is also mystic power, because how you can make cheese?
Without lemon,
Milk is liquid, and suddenly you get such a solid thing from it. Right?
No, if so, then we'll put a big factory. Big Sankirtan will start.
Only thing is
One
that
yoga is enough.
you should go to the milk ocean. Start making paneer there.
Mozzarella.
Mozzarella. Supply to Italy. Don't need to keep cows.
heaven on earth.
There's an ocean of milk. So all you have to do is just go there, start making milk. Cheese.
What kind of yogis do this? Mystic yogis? Not bhakti yogis.
No, these are not bhakti yogis.
Yeah, but what kind?
That's all
Ashtanga
yogis.
Mozzarella.
Yeah, they are Ashtanga yoga.
Ashtanga. Ah. But it's not kind of siddhi. No?
Yeah, it is siddhi.
It's siddhi.
It is one type of siddhi.
And there are these people who see this. And these people who are.
But it's dangerous to realize this.
Why?
Because it's attraction.
Yeah, you can realize and not be attracted.
No, this is higher level.
You can have gulab jamun and still not. You become attracted and eat too much and then you are attracted.
And then you need a doctor.
पुरुषाधिष्ठानेन लब्ध चेतनाया मायाया तस्यास्त्रयोविंशतौ भागेषु कार्य कारण भावेन उत्पत्स्यमानेषु प्रथमं महत्त्वस्य जन्म तथैव. So when the consciousness comes in Maya, then it starts functioning. And there are 23 elements which it produces. From Prakriti, Mahatattva, and then 22 more. So those are being described here. The first one is Mahatattva. Avyaktat Mayata. From Avyakta Maya, the unmanifest Prakriti or Maya, Kidrishat Kalacholita. So the instrumental thing is time. It is time which brings all the changes. Without time energy, it will not happen. So that's why things happen when there is a proper time for it to happen. When it is not a proper time, you go on trying, it does not happen. So you think that it happened because of you. But actually the real thing is time. Sarvam kala kritam manni. He says, I consider everything as manufactured by time. So I was thinking that now in Vrindavana so many buildings are coming, and 25-30 years ago there were all trees and gardens all around. So in 25-30 years, why it has changed? It is time. Although we may say that it happened like this and because of so many other reasons, ISKCON came or this came or that came. But why only now and not say 50 years, 100 years ago? People were still existing. It's not that they did not have money at that time. So many buildings were built before also in different places. So this is the influence of time. Sarvam kal kritam manye na kasyapi atri doshana. In Padma Purana it says that it is actually the time which is influencing, and you cannot blame anyone.
But the time doesn't have, he is not independent.
Time is, nothing is independent, it's not. So therefore he says that why Prakriti became Mahatattva? Because of time. Of course the Jiva is influential and his karma is influential and desires are influential. But why at that time? Because of time. So time has a very great role to play. And we should keep this in mind. Because sometimes we become frustrated. So if you know that this time which is influential, then you know that okay, it's not time for this. It can be done. तद उत्पत्ति उचित काल प्रापित विकृत है तत्व पदम परित्यज्य महतो लक्षणम. So therefore he says that tad utpatti uchita kala prapita vikrita. That now this transformation came in Prakriti because it was the proper time for it to happen. And therefore Prakriti gave up its own state or tattva and became Mahata. Then what is this Mahatattva? It is being described here. So first thing is that it is Vijnanatma. What does Vijnanatma mean? Samahan Sattvans Pradhanyena. So there are different things which come out from Prakriti. So the Mahatattva is with the predominance of Sattva. And Sattva gives illumination. Therefore it is called Vijnanatma. Vijnana means illuminating. So when there is Sattva in any object, there is illumination. There is lightness, understanding, awareness. Vishishta Jnana Swarupa. Its very nature is awareness or illumination. Sarvadehesu Chitta Rupena Yuvansena Vartate. And it exists as Chitta in all bodies. So outside in the universe there is Mahatattva, a cosmic element, and in our physical bodies its one part is existing as Chitta. And it's called Chitta because Chitta is related with Chetana or consciousness or awareness. So more our Chitta is in goodness, more understanding we have, more illumination we have, and more we are in goodness. So that's why spiritual practice is done to purify Chitta, which sometimes translated as heart in English, but we should not misunderstand heart with this physical instrument. It is a subtle, very subtle thing because this is the first element. And all our past experience is stored in it. That is also the meaning of Vijnanatma. Means knowledge is there. Many times you hear that all the knowledge is inside you. So it's not that knowledge is inside you because we have experienced many things. Those experiences are lying inside. It's not that something you have like a library or it's like a disk just naturally existing there. It's because we have so many births we have had, we have experienced so many things. So that is there, like a hard disk stored in it. So basically our life is memory. We are functioning because of our memory. If we lose our memory, what will we do? We will forget how to go to bathroom. We will become animals. Because animals, they don't learn. They don't have memory. To learn, you have to have memory. Then you will not know where to go, what to do, which room to live in. So you try to see the animals. They are bewildered. Basically they are just following their hunger, food. Otherwise they just sit quietly, very little memory, not much. So human beings, they have more memory, and more memory you have, that means more capacity for knowledge. And we are functioning on the basis of memory. We make decisions. If we remember things, we do work, we plan. So all this is coming from Mahatattva. Chitta. Right?
And then in this Chitta there is an unlimited amount of impression, data, let's say, memories, as you say, no? So, there is no beginning of this.
Yeah, so there's so much. There are mentioned in the books of yoga that there was this sage, what is his name? Asuri Jagisavya. Jagisavya remembered, we hear that Lord Buddha remembered his 100 lives. Jagisavya is a sage who remembered his births for 100 kalpas. Can you remember? Can you understand? One kalpa means 1 day of Brahma. 1 day of Brahma means 1000 yugas. He remembered his births for 100 kalpas.
How does this happen?
He was a yogi.
Yeah, but not every yogi can remember.
He is not every yogi.
Yeah, this is the question.
He is a very special yogi.
Special.
So in yoga there is a practice that you can remember your past lives.
Yeah? So we should practice.
Why am I?
You can practice.
I don't want to know. I have enough. We are going for a solution here.
Swadehastham Vishwam Uchuna Bija Jagatam Ankuradi Rupam Vrikshamiva Vyanjayan Prakashayan. So he says that this universe is lying inside the body of Mahatattva, and is comparing it like a sprout. Just like when seed is there and you make it little wet, then it swells little bit. So he says Uchun Bij means swollen seed. And that is the universe in the beginning. It's going to sprout. So sprouting is also a bank. See the big bang. The universe is going to sprout now. From small, this big. You have seen this huge tree, Vatavriksha. It can spread in miles. But if you see the seed, it is very small. It's smaller than the mustard seed. Very small. But from that comes this big tree. So that's why Vatavriksha sometimes is compared with the universe. The universe also a small thing and then becomes so big. So Vrakshamiva Vyanjayan Prakashayan Yato Asau Tamonuda. So it illuminates, it manifests. Therefore it is also called Tamonuda, or dispeller of the darkness. Pralaya Gata Ajnana Dhvansakarta. The ignorance which was existing during dissolution, that is dispelled by Mahatattva. Tato Rajavans Pradhanya Sati Kriya Shaktya Mahatattva Bheda Sutra Tattvam Bhodati Abhigaya. And when the Rajas became prominent, then that has power of action. Mahatattva has power of knowledge, Gyan Shakti. Then there is another element that is called Sutratma. And that has the power to act. So Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti. These are the two potencies.
Okay, action.
Knowledge, and when you have knowledge,
Action.
then there is action. Without knowledge there is no action. So first knowledge, then action. And in between there has to be desire. Because knowledge is not enough to act, you also have to have desire to act. So therefore there is knowledge, desire, then action. And then it continues. That's how the universe gets into motion. Okay.
A question about this Mahatattva who has intelligence. You thought? So, and then there are part like they are like sparkle, and then there is some movement, and it's not that Mahatattva becomes all like this activity. Some part they remain dark. So in this dark part, this is something like unmanifest, remains still unmanifest.
Yeah.
Means that is because what I cannot understand is that
It's like you have seeds, and then some seed they become plants, and then there are other seeds, they are just lying seeds.
okay.
It's not any problem.
No problem. Only that in my imagination I see Mahatattva as an aggregate of
Mhm.
unmanifested.
So out of some makes the planets and all this, and the other remains matter.
Because also in the science they say that there are these black holes
Mm.
that they try to send some sound or some light inside, and it never comes back.
Yes.
So I was thinking maybe this is
Math Tattva.
not that.
I don't know, maybe. You can go and find out.
Ring the bell and ask.
जया and श्रेया. जया कौन सी है? ये और श्रेया? तो कुछ समझ आया? नहीं? कुछ समझ नहीं आया? हिंदी आती है? हिंदी आती है क्या नहीं? तो तुम तो कुछ भरना हो. बोलो. बोलना नहीं आता? श्रेया कुछ तो भरना.
भन्नो
हैं? हैं?
भन्नो शब्द
भरना नेपाली.
भाना भन्न नहीं भाना
भरना. संस्कृत का धातु है भण. भण माने बोलना. भणति भणता भणंती. तो ऐसे नेपाली में बोलते हैं भण.
बुझ्यौ गरे बुझ्यो भने बुझी भन न उठेर
कुछ नहीं.
बुझ्यौ समझ रही हो
समझ रहे हैं? और
ये तो समझती है मुझसे ज़्यादा समझती है दोनों. मैंने इंग्लिश में पढ़ी है, ज़्यादा पढ़ती है इंग्लिश में भी.
इंग्लिश मीडियम दोनों.
समझती है. फिर बाद में उत्तर देना पड़ेगा, अच्छी तरह से समझ लेना, फिर